welcome to the Prescott Today Show. I'm Allison Zelms, your Deputy City Manager for the City of Prescott, and I'll be your host today. First off, I'm very excited to let you know that we are reinstating the Prescott Today Show. If you're an avid viewer before, you probably noticed that we were on hiatus for a while, but we're bringing things back, and we hope to have topics that are very important to you. I'm standing here in front of City Hall at 201 South Cortez, and we're going to be looking at a few things here at the City Complex today and talking to the Mayor about the state of the city and what's going on at City Hall. We thought we'd kick off the first Prescott Today Show with a brief tour of the city offices. So we're starting here today at 222 South Marina Street, which is your city police department. And while our officers are out on the street 24/7, 365, there are other activities that go on at the police department every day. Administration is here, and you might need to stop by our records division Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. to either pick up a report or to make a report, maybe for a vehicle accident. While you're here, you can drop off your excess prescriptions for proper disposal by the police department, and you might even run into our two canine officers, Hercules and Corey. Now let's head off towards the library. Well, we're just right up the street from the police department, and your wonderful Prescott Library is behind us. The library has quite a lot to offer to all of our residents, and you might not know it, but last year we had over 440,000 visitors through the doors of the library. That translated to over 750,000 items checked out. And believe it or not, you can actually get your public library services online whenever you feel like it. Just visit www.PrescottLibrary.info and you can check out books online with your library card. So we're going to head over to the City Annex, which is across the street from the library. Well, here we are at Human Resources. We came in off Marina Street, but you can also access HR from the parking lot by City Hall. So let's go in and say hello. All right. Well, this is the Human Resources Department, and today we're going to be talking with Brandon Nunez.
Hello.
And Melissa Fousek.
Hi, how are you?
Do you want to introduce us to some of the teammates you have here in Human Resources?
On in. This is Liz Bowen, our Human Resources Assistant. She handles all of our customer service calls that come in through the main HR line here. And then Randy McInnes, who is our payroll and benefits specialist. She processes all payroll and then any benefit changes throughout the year.
All right, well, we're in Human Resources with Melissa and Brandon, and we're going to talk a little bit about careers at the City of Prescott. So, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about what actually happens here in Human Resources?
Sure. So we handle a broad scope of human resources management here at the City of Prescott, from recruiting, benefits, training, employee relations, as well as payroll. We're one of the larger employers here in the community, so we have about 500 full-time staff and 100 to 150 temporary employees, depending on the time of season, so whether spring or summer.
Well, Brandon, what do people think of Prescott as a place to live and work?
Well, we love working here and living here. Collectively we have 6 people who work in the HR department, but I'm actually the only townie here. Everybody else has lived across the country and moved to Prescott to enjoy the climate, and the quality of life, and the small town atmosphere. So I think that's really what we really like about living here and working here.
So if folks are interested about a career with the City of Prescott, what would you tell them about how to apply and look for positions that are available?
Yeah, so I think one of the most unique parts about the City of Prescott is that we're obviously a small town, but we also have the large services that a big city would. So with that being said, there's lots of different career opportunities for people and different avenues that they can take. We have everything from the rec services to the library, police, fire, the different water operations, and we also have the transfer station and all our admin support. So there's really a lot of options, and if people are interested, it's really easy. They just go to our website, which is www.prescott-az.gov, and you can complete an online application for any of the departments I mentioned.
And do you have any other tips for folks that are interested in finding out what's going on with careers here?
Absolutely. We have what's called job alerts. So if you're on our City of Prescott employment page, You can sign up for job alerts and let us know what positions you're interested in, and you will be alerted by text or email anytime one of those opportunities comes up. So you can feel free to give us a call at any time as well, which our direct line here is 928-777-1347, and we'd be glad to help you out.
Well, that was a really quick intro into human resources at the City of Prescott. But what I can say as an employee for the city is that this is a great place to work, and we have wonderful team members who are always working to make the city a better place for you, our residents. So let's move on and go take a look at utility billing. It's probably another place that you've visited a few times. Well, we're here at the south entrance of City Hall, and right inside is utility billing and community development. So let's go take a look at utility billing. It's a place you've probably been before. And here's the window for utility billing, and that's where you probably normally come to pay your utility bill or get a dog license. But we're actually going to go inside and talk to a few of the representatives. So let's go inside now. Well, we're here inside the utility billing office today. It's the side of the office that you've probably never seen as a customer. Just to my left is the utility billing window, which is one of the easy opportunities that we provide our customers to pay their bill. And with me today is Patty Prince. She is one of the city's utility billing representatives. So Patty, what is it that happens in utility billing?
Well, quite a bit goes on here. We answer questions about billing, we calculate the utility bills, take payments, all kinds of things. Talk to our customers.
And what's one of your favorite things about interacting with the public?
There are just so many really nice people, and I like to have the opportunity to help them and to make a difference.
That's great. So some of the things that we hear about from people are surprise bills, or it looks like their bill is higher than normal. What should someone do if they suspect that they have a leak or that their bill is not correct?
If you believe that you might have a leak or you think that we've misread the meter, first thing is to go take a look at the meter yourself. It's very easy to read. And if you know that all of your faucets are turned off inside and out and the meter is moving even just a tiny little bit, it's an indication that you do have a leak. And then you can take steps to rectify that, and then call our office, and we can make payment arrangements or let you know what kind of ramifications it'll have on your bill.
So what number should people call if they have a question about their bill?
Our phone number here is 928-777-1291, or if you have a question regarding a water maintenance issue, it's 928-777-1118.
Great. So one more question for you today. I know that you are always working at trying to make things easier for the customer, more accessible. So what are some of the different ways that people have to pay their water bill?
We have a lot of different options. You can pay here at our office at City Hall, 201 South Cortez Street. There is a drop box at the Rollie P. Simmons Community Center. We have SurePay, which is automatic payment through checking your savings, and also through our website. The Prescott-az.gov website has a pay online option.
That's great. Well, I know that I see folks coming in to City Hall every day working with our utility billing representatives, and we get lots of positive compliments about how helpful all of you are. So thank you so much for the hard work you do for the city.
Thank you very much.
Great job. Well, we're going to head over to community development now and talk to Frank Hall about permits and what you need to do if you're doing work at your house. So let's head across the hallway. So let's talk to Frank Hall. He's one of our planners, and he will tell us a little bit more about what happens in community development. Follow me. Okay, well, I'm here with Frank Hall. He is one of the city planners, and you can probably tell that from his office because he has a lot of maps up that show zoning and the uses that are allowable in the different parts of town. So Frank,
yes.
Tell me a little bit about what happens in community development.
Well, the Department of Community Development is really the central starting point for development services in the city of Prescott. We are here to serve the public with everything from simple building permits to regional annexations to subdivision plans to any type of development activity for residential property all the way up to large commercial properties.
So if something's going in the ground here in Prescott, there's probably someone talking to community development.
Absolutely. We encourage everybody to come to community development first. This is the starting point for even an idea before things even get put on paper.
So tell me a couple of different reasons why someone might contact community development.
Well, individual homeowners could come in and ask about things like additions to their homes or accessory buildings to their homes on private property. They could also come in for ideas on opening up a new business, constructing a new industrial building, a new commercial building, or if they have a larger piece of property that needs to be subdivided, or if it's just outside the city and they want to become part of the city through an annexation process. It's a variety of services we provide here in coordination with other departments within the city.
So what is the number that folks would call to talk about what their idea is as a first step?
First step would be to stop in and talk to us here at City Hall, or if you'd like to call first and set up an appointment, our number is 928-777-1207 for our main number to the planning department. Although we are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and you can just walk in as well. We're here, we're available.
And we see folks here with big rolls of maps and permit plans all the time. So
yes, absolutely.
It's quite a busy place this time of year as we're going into the spring.
It is. It's a very busy place. We're here to serve. However, if you have a large project or something that needs to take time, we'll make time. You can set up an appointment or you can just walk in.
Great. Well, thanks, Frank, and we will let you get back to all your planning.
Great. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the City Council Chambers. I am here today with your Prescott City Clerk, Dana DeLong. Hi, Dana. How are you?
Hi, Allison.
Well, you don't normally work from this seat, but people will see you here on the first and third Tuesday of the month when you're here at City Council meetings.
Yes.
So you go to the City Council meetings, but what does the job of the City Clerk entail?
Well, Allison, the city clerk wears several hats. The city clerk acts as the historian for the city, preserving all the official city records, such as the city charter, the city code, ordinances, resolutions, council minutes, and then all city contracts. We also conduct municipal elections. The city holds their elections every other year in the odd number years, so every 2 years, odd numbered years. Our next regularly scheduled election is August of 2017, and that's where the citizens of Prescott will elect a mayor and 3 council members. So we do several things. Our daily function is that we are administrative support for the mayor and council. We provide information for the council agenda. We provide information to the council on agenda meetings and the different agenda items and things like that. So we perform a lot of different work, but our goal is to provide accurate and accessible and timely information to the citizens of Prescott.
So you provide a lot of information to a lot of people. What are some of the reasons that a resident might call the city clerk's office?
People or citizens would call the clerk's office if they need to request public records, if they need to know information about the council meetings or the agenda items on the council meetings, if they have questions about city elections, if they have questions about boards, commissions, and committees. So there's several reasons to call us. We also get a lot of calls when from citizens who don't quite know which department can help them. So we then listen to their situation and then direct them to the correct department.
Great. And so you mentioned city council meetings, and we're in the city council chambers. Where can people find information, and when can they find it about the upcoming city council meeting?
The city's website is www.prescott-az.gov, and that's where all the council agendas are listed in the meetings section. We also have agendas for all the boards, commissions, and committees. The agendas for the council meetings are posted the Thursday before the Tuesday meeting, usually later in the afternoon. And then the results of the meeting, like if there's a voting meeting, the results of that meeting are posted the next morning on Wednesday morning. But that's where all the information can be found on the website.
That's great. And the city clerk's position was one of the first positions created for government. Is that accurate?
Yes, actually we go back a very long way. It's you have the ruler or the king, and then you have a scribe right next to him, and that's the city clerk. So we're one of the oldest.
And we're lucky to have you here helping us along the way. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much for talking to us today, Dana.
You're welcome.
Well, we're in the city council offices right now, and this is where your city council members come to do work on items that will be coming before the city. It's also where they might give you a call back from, or where they work on other activities for policy making at the city. So we're going to go in and talk to our new mayor, Mayor Harry Oberg, and he has a few remarks on the state of the city that he would like to share. Follow me. Mayor Oberg, are you ready for the state of the city?
Yeah, hi, come on in.
Great, good to see you again.
Yeah.
I am here with Mayor Oberg. He is the mayor of the fine city of Prescott, Arizona. Mayor, I know you have a few words you'd like to share with the public, and so I'll turn it over to you for your State of the City address.
Okay, appreciate that. Again, back in January, early January, I put a talk of the town in the Courier, which is called State of the City. And I don't know how many people had an opportunity to read that, but I think it'd be a good time right now for me to go ahead and maybe just reiterate some of the things that I said in that article. First of all, since my installation back in November, I have had an opportunity to go out and meet all the city departments, talk to everybody, find out what their goals and missions and responsibilities were, what their priorities were, what their issues and concerns were. And I will say that for the most part, I think we have a very good staff here that supports the city and the citizens of the city. And I was very pleased in meeting everybody out there and hearing what they had to do. Obviously, we have some challenges and some opportunities, so I think what I'll do is start with the challenges first. The first one, I think I need to also say that, a lot of these issues that we're going to be talking about are very complex. They have a lot of moving parts. There's no easy solutions to them. If there were, we'd have already figured out what we're going to do with them. So I think when I was running for mayor, back in June, July, August timeframe of last year, I had a lot of people come up to me, and the two issues that they talked to me about the most was group recovery homes and PSPRS. And it kind of flipped which one was ahead of the other one, but those are the two prime ones I heard about. Probably water was third. So I think what I'll do is go ahead and start talking about PSPRS first. And that is the public safety retirement system for police and fire. That includes both the retirees and people that are currently in active service in the city. Obviously, the current system that we have right now is unsustainable. We've been working with Senator Lesko down at the legislature, and we have a lobbyist that we hired this year to work with her down there and represent the city for us on a continuous basis. You've been doing an excellent job, by the way, but obviously, it sure doesn't hurt to have somebody down there every day walking the halls and meeting people in the elevators and taking them out to lunch and putting forward our issues here at the city. So he's been working on a number of issues, and probably the two that are most primary in his effort is drug rehab and the PSPRS. So we've been able to get some pretty good action this year at the legislature. One of the things that when I was talking to people last year, they said they couldn't see agreeing to paying the 0.55 on a ballot initiative unless they saw reform. And right now, Senator Lesko has been able to get legislation through. It's been signed by the governor. We do have right now, I think, a reasonable plan on how we're going to move forward on this. First of all, there's going to be a tier 3 now of employees. That's people that will be starting in 1 January of 2017, 1 July 2017. And they'll be under a defined benefit, defined contribution program. So it will help to lessen some of the costs for the city going forward. But we still have problems with the pension benefit increase, COLA, things of that nature. We're still working through that. As a matter of fact, coming up this May, there'll be a ballot initiative. I think it's ballot initiative 124, in which we're asking that the public go ahead and agree to the new COLA system for the people that are currently in service or the ones that are retired. There's going to be more on that here in the near future. We're going to have the Recent Foundation, was very instrumental in bringing this forward and working with Senator Lesko and all the stakeholders down in Phoenix and elsewhere. They're going to be here on the 15th as part of a study session starting at 1 o'clock, in which they'll state exactly what has been developed in the system up to now, how it's going to affect Prescott specifically. We're also going to be having them on KQ&A on the next day, talking about it, and we're going to try and get out even greater coverage on that for the people in Prescott to understand exactly what's going on. The other area, of course, is group recovery homes. I had a lot of people come up to me when I was running, and even since then, saying, we've had a significant proliferation of homes. They tell me mostly from 2008. I guess we've had, recovery homes here going back into the 90s and maybe late 1980s. But starting in 2008, there was a considerable proliferation. Right now, I think we have currently registered with the city about 162, but that's a voluntary registration. And but talking to the industry, they think we're probably close to about 300 homes. So obviously, I'm concerned about that. We've got some very good homes here, but they're licensed by the state. They have to meet very stringent requirements. And as a result, they're doing a good job, in my mind. I've gone out and gone through some of these homes and seen exactly how they're running their programs, and I think they're very good. They have good exit plans. They feed their people. They have good counseling. So those are not the ones we're really worried about. The ones we're worried about are the ones that are not licensed. I'm not sure that they even have good counseling or house managers that are trained. So we're working with Noel Campbell. Last year he tried to put through legislation to try and get some better oversight on these homes and was unsuccessful. So far he's done fairly well this year. We've got it through the House by I think it was a 49-9 or 49-7 vote. Very bipartisan. And really, this is not a partisan issue. This is a very bipartisan issue. And right now, it's before the Senate. I think there's two subcommittees that's going to be looked at there. We're hoping that we can get it through there and get it through the Senate and signed by the governor this year. What they'll do for us is give us a little more oversight on the homes where we can require them to be registered with the city, number one. And second of all, start looking at trying to increase the level of care in these homes. The things I'm worried about is what is the level of care? Are we getting the outcomes that we want? In other words, are we having still a high recidivism rate, or are we going to be able to bring that down from 75 to, 95 down to 90 or 85 or something like that? So I want to see better outcomes, and I think we can do that if we have better oversight on the homes. Obviously, we want to make sure the homes are safe for both fire and having the proper room size for the people that live there. And obviously, if people are going to fail in the program, that we have some kind of an exit program, just like the licensed homes have. So we're hoping that we'll be very successful at that here in the near future with the legislature. Again, another area that we need to probably talk about is the business license or business registry. I see it basically as a registry. Right now we don't know what business we have in Prescott. We know who has a TPT license or a sales tax license, but we don't know all the businesses that are operating here. And we have found some businesses that probably should have been collecting sales tax that weren't. And so what we need to do is have some mechanism that we find out everybody that's doing business here. I think this will do a number of things. It'll support economic development. We have businesses that come in and say, I'd like to come in the area. I just like to know what my competition is, so I can decide on whether or not I'm going to be a good fit for your community. We have other community businesses that come in and say, well, if I bring my business in, I need these kind of services or retailers or manufacturers in your area to support my business. Do you have those? Right now, it becomes a major effort for us to analyze that and come back to them with good answers. Cities like Prescott Valley that already have all this information in database, they can very quickly come up with those answers. For us, it's going to be a lot more time consuming. So I think it would definitely help us in the realm of economic development. Obviously, if we have a business license, we're going to want to know, do you have any kind of hazardous material in your business? Some people might have an art studio, but you don't realize what they have in there is acetylene and oxygen because they do metal welding. And the police and fire need to know this, so that if there is a fire there, they can keep people back at a safe distance in case there's going to be some kind of impact due to the fire. And again, as you know, I think it was in 2013, legislation was put forth that, you know, all the sales tax is now going to be from cities and towns going to be collected by Department of Revenue in Phoenix. What we need to do is have some registry that when they come back to us and say, this is who we're getting sales tax from, we have some way to compare it and ensure that everybody that's here that should be collecting TPT or sales tax is doing that, and also to make sure that we get all our money back, you know, from Phoenix when it has been sent to them. And we know that there's been problems in the past where they haven't allocated the money back to certain cities and towns, and there's been a major, you know, effort for them to try and recover that money and keep up with their bills. So I think that's another very important area that we need to look at. Obviously, we're going to be developing the budget here very soon for FY 2017. I think the one thing that I found when I was out talking to many of the departments was, are we recovering all our costs? And it appears that in a number of areas, we haven't really done much in looking at our cost compared to what we should be asking for, what people should be paying today, since about 2002, 2003. I guess there was some adjustments made in 2008. I think they were probably down in many cases because the economy went down, and now that the economy is starting to improve, you know, we need to make sure that we're covering all our costs for the work that we do. And so I think that's a major area that we'll be looking at. We'll see how far that goes in helping to pay the bills that we have in the future. We might have to adjust those. But obviously we're going to be implementing the classification and compensation study that was done, I think in 2014, where we looked to see exactly where our people stood in wages compared to surrounding cities. And one of the things we found is that in some cases, and in a few, we're probably in the high end, but in many cases we were in the low end. And that's one reason why we have a high turnover in many of our jobs, with people going to other cities and towns because they can get better pay there. So implementing this classification and compensation study, when you have limited funds, there's probably going to be some change in the way we do business. We're going to have to look at maybe cutting some services, obviously not the critical services, but also, you know, there may be some difference in the way we do business in the models that we have for police and fire or some other things. So I think that's something we need to look at, and hopefully going forward, I know it's going to be a little difficult and time-consuming process, but it's something that needs to be done. Obviously, the last area I'd probably like to talk about that's significant is trying to figure out what we're going to do to ensure that we're at safe yield with our water resource by 2025. And I think there's a couple of areas there we need to look at. We need to continue the monitoring study that we have currently ongoing with the Big Chino to see whether or not we're going to affect the headwaters of the Verde River. I personally think from everything I've seen and heard up to this point, we're going to have minimal impact on that if we do start taking water out of there at some point in the future. But obviously the study is going to, you know, the 8-year study is going to determine that. We're 3 years in that 8-year study right now. So we'll know at the end of 8 years whether or not we're going to have an impact. Of course, it won't stop at then. I mean, even if we do build a pipeline, the study will continue to make sure that we are not impacting the Verde. Obviously, I think we need to continue conservation efforts. You know, we put out the Water Smart brochures. We send them out with the water bill. We have them here available at the City Hall. I think there's even a conservation newsletter that goes out right now that's got ideas and things in it. Water Smart, I think it's called. I hope everybody's taking an opportunity to look at that and see what they can do. Obviously, when we increased rates, we saw a fairly substantial decrease in the use of water when we did that. As a matter of fact, we're using less water today than we were 10 years ago, even with all the growth we've had in those 10 years. So it shows that sometimes, you know, what you have to pay for water can help people decide to conserve. And of course, the last thing is to develop a funding source for the Big Chino. I think what we're going to probably be looking at is a public-private partnership I've been speaking with both Congressman Gosar and Senator McCain to see if there's anything they might be able to do for us at the national level to help in this. Because this is not just for Prescott, this is for the region, for the greater Prescott area. So they seem to be very interested in seeing what they might be able to do at the national level to help us out with that. But I think that pretty much covers the talk of the town that I had in the paper, and I'm open to any other questions you might have.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You know, you have done quite a lot in your first 4 or 5 months of office, haven't you?
Yeah, 3.
Oh, it's only been
It
3?
might seem like 5, but it's only 3, yeah.
Well, you know, that leads me to probably a question a lot of people have out in our viewing area. Why did you want to become the mayor of the city of Prescott?
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment. No, really, this is my hometown. I was raised here. My dad got here in '29. He was a cowpuncher. He was a sheriff deputy. As a matter of fact, he got drafted for the Second World War from Prescott and came back here afterwards. And so I have a lot of strings to this town. I feel that my previous experience gives me the tools I need to help the city try and make sense of what's going on and try and come up with reasonable solutions. And you know, when I was at the Pentagon, I worked with a $1.5 billion budget. Our budget here is considerably smaller, but at the same time, it seems like all the things you have to look at and consider are the same, whether it's a $1.5 billion budget or it's a, you know, $150 million budget.
Sure, and you referenced your experience in budgeting, and obviously one of the challenges that's coming up for the city is the 2017 budget. The city council is anticipating having some work sessions, I believe, in May. What are some of the things that you foresee over the next year or so in addressing some of those challenges?
Well, again, I think one of the big things is when you implement the classification and compensation study, where we're going to try and get the wages up a little higher than they are right now so we can keep people, and we have the same amount of money, we're going to have to figure out how to still get the work of the city done. And so I've asked the various, I know that, you know, the city manager has put out budget guidance, and I've asked him to ensure that we go forward with requirements in the future, that we make sure that we definitely need them. You know, I don't think there's a lot of fat in the budget. I really don't think there is. What we need to do is maybe spend a little smarter. Maybe we need to right-size things. Do we have more vehicles we need? You know, I'm hearing that we have vehicles in certain departments that are not even being used. And I don't think we should be buying new vehicles when maybe what we need to do is cross-level the vehicles that we have. So I think there's some ways to take a look at our assets and cross-level them. Obviously, there's going to be some new requirements we just got to have, and I expect those to come forward in the budget. We'll figure out how to fund them.
Well, Mayor, and you mentioned right-sizing, and you also mentioned different service levels. So that kind of goes right along with what is the role of government? What's your view on that? Well,
basically, I think we have a responsibility to provide critical services. Police, fire, obviously, are two of them. You know, we work with the county to try and have medical services, things of that nature, and to have an ambulance service here. And then we provide a lot of basic services, parks and recs, library, things of that nature. The building department, you know, for issuing permits for buildings and things of that nature. So I do want to tell people, because I have a lot of people say, well, what are we doing about bringing jobs here? Well, again, the city creates the environment to bring business here. We do not create jobs, and we do not create businesses. The community will do that. And so what we have to do is create the environment that makes businesses want to come here. So I think it's a collaboration between us and the county to make sure that we have the essential services and the basic services that people find are necessary to be willing to come here, establish businesses, to work here, and make their home here.
So, Mayor, we have some challenges ahead of us and some really great opportunities for the city of Prescott. What would you ask of the residents here to help the city move forward?
Well, we didn't talk about opportunities for a moment, so why don't I just talk about that? We talked about the challenges. Obviously, I think our primary opportunities are going to be in economic development. That's what we need to have to sustain the city. We have to have about a 1% to 2% growth so we don't stagnate and house prices remain stable. If we see stagnation, you'll see house prices go down. So I think it's important to make sure that we keep looking at how we can improve economic development. I do know that our Director of Economic Initiatives here has set up a committee of prominent businessmen to take a look at where we have gaps right now in retail and manufacturing that we could bring in here that would be very compatible with our town and our environment and our other businesses. We're looking at trying to do something with the airport. We've already got one company that's come in to put in an air transport service, but we do need a new terminal. We need to improve our commercial air service. And I know that just about everybody I've talked to wants to see improved commercial air service. I mean, they're very eager to see us get that started. So I think trying to figure out some way to get a new terminal is going to be very important. At some point, we'll probably have to lengthen the runway, but I think that's down the line of ways. Obviously, we're looking at trying to develop the commercial aspects out at the airport and some retail. So I think this group will be looking at that and figuring the best fit for what we have out there. Again, I'm looking at a biomass plant. I was briefed some time back about a company that wants to put a $25 million plant in here. We already have all the impact statements done on the forest, the NEPAs. The big problem is just getting the Forest Service to allow us to get out there and start harvesting the overgrowth so that we can reduce the wildfire danger to Prescott, number one, and number two, trying to increase the water recharge into the aquifer, which I think will occur once we get some of the overburden taken off. But the big thing, of course, is to try and reduce our fire danger. Again, I'm looking at trying to establish some cutting edge businesses here with Embry-Riddle. They're very prominent in cybersecurity, drone research, and robotics. And right now, I think they're going to be looking at doing a conference here very soon on a couple of those. I'm not sure. I think it was, I can't remember right now. I don't want to say. But anyway, they're looking at having some business come in and take a look at cybersecurity. I think it's one of them, where they're going to come in and have a conference on cybersecurity, and then when the people are here, these major companies from around the United States, see what we have here in the way of the university, the students, the community, they might want to establish some satellite businesses here. So hopefully that might start bearing some fruit. I do know in talking with the Chancellor, Dr. Ayers, that he has a lot of students that want to stay here when they get through with their training at the university, but the jobs aren't here. This might be one way to start getting those tech-savvy jobs or cutting-edge jobs here so that they'll have something not only during the summertime, that they might even have something for them at the end of their completion of their degree. The other thing, of course, is we'd like to try and look at trying to get more hotel space in town. The tourism side has been continuing to grow every year. We have a lot of summer activities. We're bringing a lot of people in. We have people going all the way to Sligman for some of these events to have some place to stay and come in to the event. So we feel that we need about 400 to 500 more hotel rooms here. That we wouldn't do all that at once, of course. But, we're looking at maybe trying to get something started next year, about 150 more rooms someplace. I'd like to try and get something in the downtown area. And I think all of this will have a great opportunity for us to have more jobs and more businesses coming here and also put more people to work. But again, like I said, this is all going to be coming from the business and commercial side. It's not going to be coming from the government. We just create the environment that makes everybody want to come here. I think the last thing I would like to say is, I work here 8 to 5 every day. Probably will continue that for some time until I find a little chance to take a break. My door is always open, and anybody that wants to have an opportunity to talk to me and feels a need to, they can always try and get an appointment. We have, I think, some forms out there where you can fill out the form, and then it'll be brought into the staff here, and they'll take a look at it and try and get the person on the schedule. You can also call in on 928-777-1380, and somebody will answer the phone and also take some of your requests over the phone. But obviously, sometimes that can be quite busy for some people, so maybe it's better to come in and do the form, and we'd appreciate that if people see a need to talk to me or anybody on the council staff, as a matter of fact. I think the other thing I want to talk about, and this is the last thing, we've changed the meetings that we have so that we used to do a workshop on one week, and then we did the voting meeting the next week, and the voting meeting started at 3, and a lot of people were coming to me and saying, well, both of these are so early that I can't get in there, I can't participate, I can't hear what's going on, could you move them later? So what we've decided to do was to consolidate to 2 days a month, the first and the third Tuesdays of the month, in which we will have both the study session starting at 1 and then the voting meeting starting at 5:30. I've already had some people that, since we have been going to 5:30, come in and tell me that they have finally had an opportunity to get off work and come down and participate and enjoy hearing what's going on in the meetings and see exactly how we're voting on things. But obviously, it's important that we get a lot of public input on a lot of the issues that we have. We don't want to do this, inside of a box. We got to have public opinion. Obviously, at some point, we have to make a decision. The majority will prevail on the council. But I do want to give everybody an opportunity to come down, listen to the issues, provide their comments, and hopefully, we can get some of the things taken care of, because we really do need their input, and I want to do it in a collaborative way with the public rather than doing it in isolation.
Great, Mayor, and you've made it very clear that you're interested in hearing from the public.
Yes.
So you're going to be continuing with the Prescott Today show,
Yes.
which will be airing at 6 p.m. the first Thursday of every month with a new exciting topic for the public. And then also, people can follow the schedule for that on the city's website at www.prescott-az.gov or at prescottmediacenter.org. Are you also going to be asking for input from the public so that you can answer some of their questions on air on the Prescott Today show?
Yes, I think what we're looking at right now is possibly a website that people can send questions into, and then those questions will be presented to me during the show or before the show, so that I can pick some and try and answer them. Obviously, if I get too many, I can't answer them all. But,
sure, and we actually had some breaking news today from the Prescott Media Center. Folks can actually email in their questions to prescotttoday@gmail.com. So starting with this show, if people are interested in asking some questions, you'll be able to go through those and answer some of those on air.
That's great.
Thank you so much for your time. And
Well, I'd like to add one more thing. We also have the KQ&A radio show the third Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and we have subjects on there on the radio that we're talking about. I try and have special guests come in. As a matter of fact, we have the Reason Foundation coming in here shortly that's going to tape next week on Wednesday, and they're going to be talking about PSPRS, Public Safety Retirement System. So I would like to have people tune into that too, so they can get more information.
great. Mayor, congratulations on your first 3 months as Prescott City Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
And for all the viewing public, we hope that you'll keep tuning in at 6 p.m. the first Thursday of every month for the Prescott Today Show.